Hello and welcome. My name is Harland Merriam, and our conversation on this recording is about 5 steps to a significant retirement. So if you're interested in that for the next 40 minutes or so, maybe a little bit less than that, we're going to talk about these 5 steps to a significant retirement. I'm going to borrow a quote from Charles Dickens in The Tale of Two Cities. When I apply it to retirement, retirement can be the best of times. Retirement can be the worst of times. It can be either. For some people, it is the best of times. About half of Americans say that they're very satisfied in retirement. Very satisfied. That's the best of times. The other half, though, isn't. They're experiencing some of the worst of times. They had such expectations, but they didn't prepare for them. They weren't resilient enough to handle the things that happen in retirement. They didn't anticipate bringing meaning into their retirement, and they're frustrated by it, and they're scared by it, and they're sad with it, and they're just not having a good time. We have these dreams of retirement, and then they don't happen. I've talked to so many people as a pastor over the past 45 years as an Army chaplain, and I'm going to liken it here to those premarital conversations that I had with couples as they're getting ready to be married throughout these years. I'm not sure that a lot of people do that these days, but it would be a time for the pastor and the couple to spend some time with each other, both to get ready for the wedding, but more importantly, to get ready to be married. And in those conversations, we would often talk about who are the people that you're modeling a marriage around. Is it your parents, your grandparents, your aunts and uncles, your neighbors, somebody you read about in a book, somebody you've seen in a movie? How do you know what significant marriage is? What do you want your marriage to be? Sometimes we take a sheet of paper and draw a line down the middle of it, a blank sheet, and on the one side, write down a list of things. I sure don't want my marriage to be this. And on the other side, I sure hope my marriage will be this. It's a matter of getting ready, anticipating, preparing for having that significant marriage. Or another example in my own ministry is in my Army chaplaincy is I would prepare other chaplains and chaplains' assistants to mobilize into a war zone. And I spent several years doing that. And my job with them was to help them anticipate what they would face when they stepped into that war zone. And that can be the worst of times, particularly if you're not ready for it. And even if you are ready for it, it can be pretty scary and pretty difficult and challenging. But it can be the best of times if you're ready and you can step into that and do your best as a chaplain assistant with units in that period of time. So is this the best of times or the worst of times as we look at retirement, as we look at other changes in our life? Again, I'm Harland Merriam. I'm a pastor, chaplain, repurposed now. I'm not serving congregations, not serving units. I've spent 45 years walking alongside people as they've navigated the changes in their life. All kinds of changes. Death of family members, getting married, moving into retirement, changing careers, dealing with an accident, dealing with major medical kinds of things. And I've watched and I've observed and I've studied what makes it possible for people to navigate these major changes in their life. And the one I'm focusing on these days is retirement. We've talked in other kind of conversations here that Carl Jung calls the retirement chapter of our life. He calls that the afternoon of our life. He's comparing it with the morning of our life. The morning is when we grow up and when we develop skills and we go to school and we learn things and we play and we build ourselves into some type of work that we're going to do, and maybe we get into relationships, maybe we form a family and our family grows up around us, and maybe the kids go off from there, and we work and we're productive and we do things and we have a significant morning of our life. And then comes the time, particularly here in America, where we move into the afternoon of our life. And Carl Jung says this can be the most significant chapter of our life, this afternoon, these last years. And he speaks about why it is that. It's not that those earlier years, the morning, weren't significant, weren't important, but he really says these latter years can be so much more significant and have such great importance for us. So what are 5 steps to make it possible that you and I can have a significant retirement? In a previous conversation that we had together, we looked at seven reasons why we might want to rethink our retirement because we weren't realistic enough, because we weren't anticipating the major change that it would be. And those 7 questions that we addressed there, what's happening? Why didn't anybody tell me this? Those 7 questions there from people that are finding that it's the worst of times, that it's really difficult, that it's painful, that it's frustrating. I talked to somebody today that says, I've been retired for 6 years now, and this person said that I still feel lost. Sad, but real for too many people. So let's be intentional about our retirement. You may be 20, 30 years away from retirement, like somebody I was talking to recently that's in his late 20s, and he's 10 years into a career, and he's saving up and got his IRAs going, and he's investing because he's realizing he has these years, this time to get ready. He's intentional about it. And others are intentional in other ways, and we'll look at these 5 steps that we might take so we can be intentional, so we can be prepared, so that we can have that significant retirement. The first of those 5 steps, the first one, is to make sure you have got a financial stability to be able to make it through retirement before your money runs out. And even in those first years of retirement, to make sure that you have enough and that it's growing and it's providing the income you need to meet the expenses. I was talking with somebody this evening that says, today I had the best day of my life. And it started 25 years ago when I met with a financial advisor that helped me 2.5 decades ago put the things in place so that I would be financially stable as I am today. It relieves the stress when we don't have to worry about finances. It doesn't mean you're rich. It just means you have enough, that you're prepared for it, that you can meet those expenses and continue to meet those expenses that are there in that latter chapter of your life. So make sure first that you have a financial stability as you move into retirement, and use all the years you can to get that ready. It is critical. I know too many of my friends that have not done that. We talked last week about somebody that's well into his 70s that's still working at Walmart, into his 70s, because he couldn't afford to retire, couldn't take care of his family, couldn't get the health insurance that he needs for his family. If you've got time, get ready financially so you have stability. The second is to take care of yourself physically and emotionally, to eat well, to get exercise, to take care of your body so that it can sustain you through these retirement years. Our bodies are changing. I lost my hair a while back. I had to get glasses because my eyes began to fail. I got old eyes, presbyopia, and things happen. I know people whose hips and knees and shoulders are not what they used to be. I know people who are dealing with diabetes and who are dealing with high blood pressure and other things that are putting stresses on their body. So make sure you got this physical foundation along with that financial foundation there that will support you through your retirement years. I have a friend who says, I'm in the best shape I've ever been in my life, even better shape than I was when I was 18 or 29 or 32 or 55. I'm in the best shape of my life, and I plan to be in better shape 10 years from now. And he realizes that our physical and our emotional bodies need to be in the best shape they can be to support us as we move through retirement and face some of these changes. One of the reasons that Carl Jung says that this is the most significant time of our life is because we get focused on important things in this time of our life. I was talking to one of the coaching clients that I have recently, and this coaching client says, Harland, I'm finally realizing that I'm not going to live forever. Now that's true all the way through life, but we become aware of that. It becomes much more clear in this last chapter, doesn't it? And it focuses us. What am I going to do with this last chapter? How am I going to write this last chapter? There's not going to be another one after this one, at least not that we'll be writing. As a person of faith, I believe there's life after this life, but that's so different. This life, this last chapter in this life gets focused during the afternoon, doesn't it? When evening's coming. So prepare financially so you're stable, and take care of your body. Someone I was talking to who's a physical therapist says that gather about you that medical team that you need that's probably more than you had in the morning of your life, people that will listen to you and understand what's going on and take the time to understand so that you can take care of your body, take care of your emotions, somebody to listen to you and care and know what you need and help you get that. So those are for the first two: financially stable and physically fit. Let's just put it that way, as best you can. I get out and walk every morning for about an hour, 3 miles these days. I guess I used to be able to walk more than that in an hour before, but it keeps me going. It keeps this body able to hold me up. Take care of your body. The third thing is to develop the skills of resilience. Here in Florida, we live in Central Florida, and hurricanes come through, and we lived through Hurricane Donna back in 1910 when we were in Texas. We lived through 2 hurricanes there in Texas. And there's a difference the way the palm trees and the bamboo deals with those strong winds and the way the oak trees and the big pine trees deal with those strong winds. And the bamboo and the palm trees have resilience. When the wind blows on them, they bend on over. We've watched the bamboos in our backyard bend all the way to the ground, and then after the wind stops, they come back up again. Or we watch the tall pines and the tall oaks that are hardwood and brittle, and they break when the winds become too strong. Develop resilience. This is more of an inner game. There's a physical game, there's a financial game that we need to play and make sure those are together, but this is more of an inner game, an emotional piece here where we're developing the skills of resilience in this last chapter of our life particularly, so that we can handle those big changes that happen during this last chapter of our life, during the afternoon of our life. Big changes. We talked in a previous conversation together about a number of people that I've known that they and their spouse had these wonderful dreams for retirement, and the first couple of years they were living the dream, and then one of them had a stroke or had a heart attack and died, or got cancer and went to the hospital and didn't come out. Do you have the resilience to deal with life events like that? And are you ready for it? That's a part of what I tried to do with couples to get ready for marriage, to have the resilience when the honeymoon's over, That's what I tried to do with chaplains and chaplain assistants, is to give them the resources and the skills so they'd be resilient when the battle starts. Do you have the resilience you need? How can you develop those skills of that resilience? How can you be able to bend when the winds push against you, when the world brings changes that you don't want to have come into your life, so that you can come back up again and step on into it further? So we've looked at 3: financial stability, your physical body, do the exercise you need to do, get the nutrition you need to do, take care of yourself physically so you have a body that'll get you around in retirement. It kind of wears out, and you want it to slow down that wearing out. If you had a car, it's taking care, rotating the tires, changing the oil, getting the tune-ups. Make sure you're doing that. The third is this one of resilience, so that you can handle the stresses that come in life, particularly in this last chapter. The fourth. The fourth is to, in this significant time in your life, leave a legacy. We talked previously that many people look at retirement, oh boy, it's going to be all fun. I get to go sit on the beach and sip sodas, or I get to play golf every day. I get to travel and do that. You got the freedom to do that. Travel as much as you can. Relax. You can get up in the morning when you want to get up. You can go to bed at night when you want to go to bed. You can do what you want to do and live into that freedom. But there's more than just doing nothing, or just being turned into yourself. One of the reasons I think Jung calls this the significant chapter of our life is because now we can use those skills and those abilities and that experience that we developed in the morning of our life and move the needle in our world, make a difference in our world. You can do that through volunteering. I know so many of my friends that are now able to volunteer more than they were before at their church or their synagogue or in a community group or here in our neighborhood center here in DeLand, or working in Habitat for Humanity or feeding the hungry. You can volunteer your time now. You have that ability. You have the financial ability to do that. You have the bodily strength to do that. You can serve on boards and teams where you can bring your experience to others, particularly in nonprofits. And I know a number of people that will do that, to serve on the board of Habitat or on the United Way board or something else during these years when they have the time and have this wisdom to bring to these community development teams that are out there. Others develop hobbies to leave a legacy with their hobby. My brother-in-law has a lathe, and he takes the joints and trees where a limb and the trunk are together, or a gnarly part of the tree, and he turns that on the lathe and makes these beautiful bowls that reveal this pattern that is there in the various rings and challenges that tree has faced, and they're gorgeous. And he gives them away, and he sells them, and he teaches others how to work the lathe too. Make a difference. Maybe it's mentoring young people. Maybe it's in your profession to become a mentor with people. Maybe it's becoming a coach and helping people. So many ways to make a difference in our life. I know several people, one in particular that is using these years to get the gift of mobility to people in third world countries, where people are stuck because they don't have a wheelchair and they have to have their brother or their dad carry them around, or they crawl in the dirt to get from one place to another and they can't go very far. But a wheelchair makes all the difference in life. And this friend of mine has been gathering people together and the resources together and coordinating with others to get crates and crates, hundreds and hundreds of wheelchairs into communities through Rotary clubs that you gather people in those communities in third world countries, Central America, the Philippines, other places, and bring these wheelchairs and deliver them to people that need them. And boy, it's making a difference for that person, for their family, for their community. Leave a legacy. I want to get to the point in my life, perhaps, I hate to say it, when I'm on my deathbed, and I'm looking back over life and I don't have regrets. I've done everything I can do. I've followed through on the call that God has in my life. I've used the gifts and the abilities that I've had to make a difference in other people's lives. That's what I'm doing now. I'm not retired. I'm repurposed. As somebody says, pastors never retire. They go out to pastor, and I'm pastoring in new ways these days in real estate and in coaching and in facilitating masterminds. And in other ways, still preaching some, teaching quite a bit, doing things like this. Make a difference. Leave a legacy. You'll sure be glad you did. I posted a post this morning in a Facebook community that I'm developing. It's just really grown over the last several months. It's called Navigating Life Together. It's a Facebook group. Join it with us. And I post something every day. One is just a conversation starter. And I think it was today, it was, imagine you're 91 years old. What would you say to yourself right now? What have you learned that you want to say to yourself right now, so that yourself right now can hear that wisdom, can gain from that experience, and listen to that when you answer that question, and live into that wisdom that's there for you. It's on the inside of you already. Listen to it and live into it. Leave a legacy. In our tradition, there's this wonderful parable of Jesus where Jesus says to three people, two of the three anyway, well done, good and faithful servant. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear from my friends and from God Almighty when this chapter ends. Leave a legacy. That's the fourth one. Financial stability, physical ability to get around, take care of yourself. This is the only body you have. Take care of it. Gather a team to help you take care of it. Do the things you need to do so that you have your body there to keep you going as long as you can. Develop the skills of resilience. Leave a legacy. And the fifth one, build and maintain supportive relationships. This thing called life, it's a team sport. You wouldn't have survived many days at all if there hadn't been people there taking care of you when you were just an infant. You've had a lot of people in your life that have been there for you, scoutmasters and teachers and coaches and bosses and mentors and good friends and neighbors and family and others that have been there for you through the years. One of the things that happens in retirement is we lose a lot of those relationships. Barbara and I, when we moved from Texas to Florida 5 years ago, left behind scores of significant relationships in our life, and they're hard to maintain at that distance. So we've been building new ones here in Florida these past 5-6 years, because this fifth key to a significant retirement is having these relationships. People that bring meaning into our life, that hold us accountable, that help us when we need them, and people that we can bring meaning to their life and help them when they need us. And it gets to be fewer and fewer people as we go through this last chapter of our life, the afternoon. So keep building and maintaining those relationships. Spend some time there, being intentional about that. We've looked at these 5 keys, there are probably more, these 5 steps that you and I might take to ensure that we have a significant retirement, that we're in that half that can look at our retirement years and say, this has been good. I'm satisfied. So that you can do it well. Wouldn't you like to be in that half of Americans? Over the next several weeks here into April 2021, I'm going to keep doing conversations like this to to help me and you and others explore and think about this retirement chapter of our life so that we can do it well. This is one of those. I'll be doing some more next week and the week after that. And if you'd like to know about it, one way is in Facebook, but the algorithms don't always get this information to you in time. A better way is to join a blog that I publish, to subscribe to it, and that will get it to you directly in an email when I'm getting ready to do another one, and give you the Zoom links for it, and let you know about it, and give you the link to the recording afterwards on YouTube so you can see if this would be helpful to you. Or maybe you know somebody else that this would be helpful to them. Well, let them know this. And here's the website address. It's www.mentorcoachtrain.com. Mentor, M-E-N-T-O-R, coach, C-O-A-C-H, train, T-R-A-I-N.com. mentorcoachtrain.com. It's my business website, and there I put a blog out every day. Most days it's a quote and a picture that gets you to think about things. Often I'll reflect on that with you as well, and I'll be letting you know about these additional training, if you will, mentoring, if you want to call it that, conversations that we can have focused over the next several weeks in this whole area, this chapter of our life that I call repurposing, that many call retirement, that Carl Jung calls the afternoon of our life, which he says should be a most significant and important chapter in our life. Thank you for taking some time to watch this video, and God bless you, and I hope to see you again soon. Get in touch. Email, call me, private message me, however we do it these days. I'd love to be in touch. God bless you now. Bye-bye.